you don't have a budget. And I said, I don't have a budget.
Hmm.
Then I went to Puff. I said, Puff, what does she mean I don't have no budget? He said, Playboy, you need to holler at your manager. I'm like, holler at my manager? I thought what happened was I didn't have a budget. The budget, back in those days when you were doing music, if you flew to a hotel in Louisiana for 2 weeks, it's coming out your budget. Like, you have artists like Black Rob, who had the opportunity to do his album, but once he finished his album, he did not know that he's going to be $2 million in debt. So in order for me to get royalty checks, first I'm gonna have to recoup $2 million or whatever the amount of that recording budget was. So I would always get royalty checks because I never had an album like that. So I still did the Godzilla. I get royalty checks. I say, Rob, you didn't get your check? He said, what check? I said, you get a check. He said, I ain't get no check.
He got not one royalty check.
G Dep didn't know that about these checks. Like what happens, it was EMI. EMI was the parent. Puff used to get their draw from EMI handles whatever administration. Puff had Janice Combs, so EMI would send the money to Janice Combs Publishing. Then in return, Janice Combs would look at see how much you got to recoup, and then give you your check from there.
Mm.
So I was like, EMI is giving you, because he was handling the administration. I said, I don't want him handling my administration. I handle my own administration. And from now on, when my check comes, I want my check to come straight from y'all and direct deposit into my bank. I do not want y'all giving my money to him and then he gives me money, because I don't like the way that goes.
How did he receive that?
The check?
No.
How did he receive
that
it?
message?
Oh, one time he was like, because this is how I was on him. I didn't play with him. And recently, when he gave everybody the publishing back, and he called and he said, Mark, I just want you to be one of the first people to know I'm giving your publishing back. I was like, wow. I said, well, how about this? You giving me the publishing back? I was like, yeah, thanks. I said, now it's mine now, right? Yeah, now I want to sell it to you. I want to sell it to you. I said, don't even give it to me now. You just keep it and just give me some money. Now I want you to do what you feel you, and I already know you know what to do. I was like, yeah, go sell it. I was selling everybody's publishing. Like, that's one thing about me. I learned so much about the industry. I knew the Indians in California with the Royalty Network, and I have a friendship with them. I could call and say, hey, man, this person right here, can you get him 10 years worth of his money up front, or 4 or 5 years worth of his money? He wants to get a loan against his publishing stream, because it wasn't a such thing as a bank that would actually finance, or even, you'd be like, well, you have any assets? You'd be like, yeah, I rule Godzilla. They'd be like, we can't give you no money off of that. We need something else. You ain't got no property? I said, well, I got Godzilla. I mean, to me, that's property. That's something big. Nobody would finance anything like that. So I found one company a long time ago. They would finance and help you get money off of your music. So when I knew that, every time I met an artist that was going through things, I would say, listen, I can help you get some money. But the money that I'm going to get you, you're going to have to be very careful and real wise on how you spend it, because once you take this money, you're not going to make money for another 4 years. So they're going to give you 4 years of your money up front. But if you go buy a Bentley and a house, and then whatever else that you think that you want to get, go buy it. People would be like, oh, I'm going to go buy new studio equipment. I'd be like, why would you take money to go buy more studio equipment? Take your money and invest it in something else that makes more money. That's when we start getting smart. You'd be like, before I spend this money, let me go at least make some more money off of it right quick, and then I'll go spend what I made off of it, but I'm going to still keep my solid bulk of money, right?
Yeah, so, man, your interactions with him after letting him know about your publishing.
Oh, he didn't like that.
So he didn't like that. So how did he begin to handle you from that point moving forward?
He knew I was smart. He was like, yo, I was like, man, I'm not waiting. I don't have to wait. I was like, I'll handle my own administration, and I can call EMI and let them know this is how I want to do my business moving forward. It was easy. I have my split sheet. I'm like, what do you mean? I have the split sheet right here that says that I own a certain percentage of this song right here. And since I own a certain percentage of this song right here, you have a deal with him to administer his publishing. I don't want him administering mine. The name of my publishing was Me Again Music. right? Because I had a son, me again. I was giving my publishing to him, so that was it. That's mine.
Wow.
That's mine. I don't.
Um,
He didn't like that.
yeah, clearly.
Because
You were there when Big got killed.
when Big got killed, I was in Los Angeles. I was there. But when they went out, I remember I told you I'm in the studio, and this was before we had internet. And another thing, Puff is just exactly what the internet is today. He was a person that had people that had emails, and they had relationships with radio. They had a radio person. They had a B market radio person, marketing promotion. So that's what it was. There was no internet. So when I would record a song in Los Angeles, I couldn't email it to him. I had to actually put it on a disc and burn it, either FedEx it, or if you're going to be in Los Angeles, I'm going to come and bring the disc to you. So when they came down to, for that award, I was in the studio trying to complete the projects that I was working on so I can give him the CD to go back to New York with. I hung out with him one night. One night I hung out with him. We went to a club, I think it was Bar One in Los Angeles. We went out. I met there, hung out Carl Thomas. This is like when I really was meeting him. I met Carl Thomas. We took pictures. And then Biggie was there. And then, so I went back home to the studio. And then the next morning, crazy. The person who I was working at the time at the studio, his name is D1. And the police went and raided his house and took the pictures that he took with Biggie the night before Biggie had got killed. Right? I was there. But I didn't go out that night. And it was just like a tragic moment. But yeah, I was there.
Man, I know that you had a close relationship with Black Rob.
Very.
And you were there when he passed.
I was holding his hand. He died holding my hand.
Right. In Atlanta.
Right.
So, just understanding what you said about Black Rob, the publishing, and so many other artists' stories.
Hold I don't want to interrupt you, but when you say things like this, some things come to me. With Black Rob, remember I told you he didn't know about getting his publishing check. So what happened was Black Rob was in child support. So it was one girl. He had three child support cases. One of them was like 300 and something thousand. One of them was like 50,000, and then one of them was 2 million, or it was millions, an astronomical amount of dollars, $1 million or something like that. And it was one baby mama that was taken him to court for that. So he never was getting his money. He never was getting publishing. So to